season of fight announcement. What is it now? Wednesday? So it's fight announcement Wednesday. Which means on the Tuesday, all the fights were announced, and there are other fights other than the ones that I had mentioned on the description and on the title, but the two fights that I mainly want to focus on are these two. Number one, Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett, still to be announced. We don't know the exact date yet. Or do we? Is there a date for that? I believe there is an actual date for Ian Gary versus Belal Muhammad. And the question to that, where is Kamaru Usman? Why did Kamaru Usman duck this fight? Is he scared of Belal Muhammad? Is there a stylistic matchup that he's concerned of that he did not want to experience with Belal Muhammad? Whatever the reason is, Usman has remained very much, what's the word I'm looking for here? Inactive. Let's, let me check the mic real quick just to make sure everything is going good. So, okay, mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Okay, let me switch the microphone on this one. Okay, mic check 1 2 1 2. Okay, let me switch the microphone on this one. Okay, can you guys still hear me? Okay, perfect. All right, so we still have audio on that one. All right, so obviously the two fights that I just want to focus on is Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett. It's been a long time coming for this particular matchup to come about. Obviously, these guys were talking smack to each other on Twitter for a very long time. In fact, Paddy Pimblett actually got his Facebook banned a couple of years ago due to the fact that he had said some racial undertones against Georgians, being that they were terrorized by Russian troops. And so as a result of that, it became this controversy. They met at a UFC London card, not exactly to fight each other, but literally in the same vicinity of Fight Week. They got into it in the hotel. This is when Paddy Pimblett started calling him the Mr. Hand Sanitizer. Okay, so that's sort of the backstory behind that. Summer Weddick says, hello, how are you? Let me know what part of the world you are from, Summer. Summer Weddick, or I don't know if that name is supposed to, be a setup name of some sort, but on any regard, welcome. We're here to announce the fights. Let me compare, hold on, let me confirm if Ilia Topuria and Paddy have a date for an actual fight date of which they are going to fight. Savannah Cruz says, hi, hello, how are you? Let me know what part of the world you are from, by the way. So, okay, that has yet to be announced, but for sure, what we have is Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett at a later date. And on top of that, the confirmation right now is Belal Muhammad and Ian Gary, confirmed for November 22nd, which, by the way, for all the boxing heads in here, on the same day as Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde. We're going to talk about that as well, because that fight is also in the same region, but in a different country. UFC Qatar, Saudi boxing with a feature of David Benavidez and Anthony Yarde.
Fall in love with your home this season at RC Willey. This week, save $50 to $200 on your new purchase. Transform your space with stylish furniture, festive decor, and the latest appliances. Get your home holiday ready today. RC Willey, your home, your way.
How's it going? Good morning. Let's go, guys.
When'd she get here?
Let's go.
Do you see her?
I think we won. Good morning. Come on, let's go.
You got here first. You did it. She's right there.
Good morning, guys.
You wake up, good morning, it's a brand new day. Blue skies above, it's a perfect day.
And I'll tell you what, that fight is very similar. Oh, no, actually, you know what? Not as similar. Because I'm going to say that the 50-50 fight goes to Ian Gary and Belal Muhammad. Puerto Rico. Okay, so you are from Puerto Rico. Good. Everybody else in the chat, let me know what part of the world you guys are from. And we will have these fights talked about in here right now. For right now, I am just making a thumbnail. Okay, so I think that the live stream will enhance once I get a thumbnail going so that I could get some people to come in here and be attracted to the thumbnail and obviously come in here and talk about these fights. So we got Patty and Ilia Topuria and Belal Muhammad and also Ian Gary on the same day as Anthony Yarde and Benavidez. Now, we're also going to talk about the political implications that come with that. Wisconsin, we got Wisconsin in the house. Noah Abbas says hi. Hello, Noah Abbas. I'm assuming you are probably Muslim, right? Sounds like a Muslim name. Noah is also a Muslim name for those Christians out there that may not know, because obviously we have the same prophets that in the Bible as you do in the Quran. But we also talk about these things as well. And not only do we talk about fights, we also talk about the political implications of the fact that Qatar is now engaged in a war with Israel. Now, that war might be predicated on black operations, small team espionage, special forces, nothing of the conventional sorts where you bring a large group of infantry or even a navy or anything of that sort. Nothing of that sort, right? What you have going on is an airstrike from Israel, and as a result, Qatar potentially retaliating on that regard. That is if Trump doesn't get in there and create some kind of diplomacy between them. And I think that is exactly what is going on right now. Trump is obviously trying to create diplomacy in the Middle East with Israel, with Qatar. And here's something a lot of people need to understand about Qatar as it relates to Ian Gary versus Belal Muhammad as the headline. Qatar is the Switzerland of the Arab Gulf states. So for those of you that know anything about Switzerland, it is a country that is proud of the fact that they are neutral in every single political exchanges that go on in the world. In fact, sometimes to the detriment of their own political correctness. For example, in World War II, not only did Switzerland fund the United States, but Switzerland also fund Germany in the 1940s. And you know that Germany in the 1940s had a very non-proud history, sort of say, right? To sort of put it lightly like that. So Ian Gary versus Belal Muhammad. Hold on, guys. I am just currently making a thumbnail for this live stream, okay? And so this way we can attract more people in here. Truth Seeker, shout out to you, my man. So I saw your comments, Fresh Melon Juice's comments as well. And you know what, man, listen, I want to thank you for being such a solid supporter, right? You and my top troll, or I don't even know if I would call him a troll at this point, because he said, hey, listen, this is a matchup that was announced. Of course, I knew that before he had mentioned that, but he sort of propelled me into getting up here on camera and, of course, talking about this fight because there's more to this fight that I could talk about than the average MMA guru or the MMA Joeys of the world, because guess what? This place is going on in Qatar. And the very same time that Qatar's military personnel were bombed by Israel, right? So you got to think, is there any safety issue that is going on with having Belal Muhammad and Ian Gary fight up there, right? You have an Irish citizen who can argue as well he's a Brazilian citizen, or he can be whatever he wishes to identify in any course of time for Ian Gary. And then you have Belal Muhammad, who's an American citizen. And regardless of how you guys want to slice it, Belal Muhammad is a Chicago man. He's an American citizen. And if anything was to happen in this event, obviously the State Department would have to intervene on behalf of Belal Muhammad. Now, I think that they would not have an event if there was any safety issues going on, right? So Trump is in the middle of Qatar. Trump is in the middle of Israel. Obviously, everybody knows the close ties that Trump has towards Israel, right? And the controversy behind that, but also the controversy in the fact that he sort of praised the Taliban. I don't know if you guys know that Trump has once praised the Taliban. Oh, the Taliban, very tough fighters, very tough guys. And then he called the president of Syria, Mohammed al-Shara, handsome. I mean, that is wild, right? But there's a reason for that, because there is a certain level of diplomacy, a certain level of massaging one's egos that world leaders know how to do with each other. Of course, the Saudis are very much great at massaging the ego of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is very good at massaging the ego of Netanyahu, and vice versa. Donald Trump and the Saudis are complementary to each other in a way that they both can flatter each other's egos, right? With the likes of Charlie Kirk's neck fountain says, hi, hello, my man. How are you? Very controversial name you have right there. But nonetheless, this is a controversial channel to the limits of what we can allow. So there we go. All right. We got a thumbnail up. I'm not really going to put up anything. Well, okay. You know what? I'll put up a little text right here. So say.
Your perfect wedding begins at Vistaprint, with gorgeous invites starting at under $1 in designs that match your theme, which we can also print on napkins, signs, and more for your big day. Take 50% off wedding stationery at Vistaprint.com with code WEDDING50.
Green Goblin, this will be a blast.
Okay. So, excuse me for a little bit of the dead air. Obviously, I don't do dead air a lot, but, you know, I am in this occasion right now because I am working on a thumbnail to put up, just so we can increase the views and the attraction for the show that we are about to unfold on right now. So as I told you guys, obviously there's a lot of turmoil that is going on in the Middle East right now while UFC Qatar is being announced. Also, in the very same region, you have Saudi Arabia hosting, by the way, the same day, November 22nd, all of that, Ian Gary and Belal Muhammad, also the same day as Benavidez and Anthony Yard. Truth Seeker says, well, very controversial name there, but thanks for coming in. Controversial name. Oh, yeah. Yes, the Kirk. Yes, that's, I love how you handle that stuff. Handle what? Oh, the controversial name? Of course, man, because, look, I'm not saying I don't have a dog in that fight. Obviously, it's sad when anybody passes away like that. But at the same time, I'm also not a prude to other people's opinions of certain things. I understand why other people have the kind of opinions that they have, but I also want people to have, I mean, look, there's a lot of opinions that I have yet to really reveal to the world, right? And that's for good reason. Obviously, a lot of it is Islamic derivative. A lot of it is ideological derivative. It's just not something that I'm going to go into, especially if I'm trying to garner the type of fan base that, you know, I want, right? But again, some things are better left unsaid, but at the same time, if you guys want to say it, you guys are the ultimate voice. But I will say this, there are just certain things that I will not read out loud, but there are some things that are allowed when you write it on text. Like, for example, the word knee, and then what follows after that, and what people are trying to set you up for as some kind of like racial undertone behind that or something, right? You are allowed to read that, but for you to say it, it would not be good, and it would not be feasible for your channel. So, all right. Let's see. Okay, so we got that going on now. So, all right, we got the thumbnail that I'm about to put up right now, and then watch this thing shoot up right afterwards. All right. All right, so there you go. Now I got the thumbnail up. Okay, so here's another thing I want you guys to understand, right? Saudi Arabia is obviously heavily invested in fight sports, right? Now the Qataris are getting into it. It's only a matter of time before the Kuwaitis get into it. Now the question is, why is it that Saudi Arabia sort of took a long time to do this, right? Like, what was their hesitation in doing this? Well, if you've been living under a rock, right, there's an era in America and there's an era in the world called the 9/11 era, right? The 9/11 era post 2001, September the 11th, right? What is that era? Obviously, that consists of the Patriot Act, right? That consisted of a world where you can no longer travel with perfume or a cologne in your hand, like one of those spray colognes, right? I remember, and I posted this picture on a community tab before, me in Paris when I was 16 years old. And I remember flying in from the United States to France, and how easy it was for me to carry a cologne, right? I had the Polo cologne, the blue Polo cologne, if you guys remember, right? And I could easily bring that in my backpack in the plane. But after the world of 9/11, it changed into this different level of security. Then came the controversy of the Patriot Act. But also, let me tell you what else came with that.
Noom's going micro. Micro habits, micro wins, microdosed GLP-1s.
I'm stuck. My weight won't budge.
Been there, but Noom can help.
Bye-bye plateau.
Hello, micro. Get started at Noom.com.
It came a lot of violence that went on in Saudi Arabia. So therefore, the level of security that they have right now, they did not have back then. And it is the reason why they were not able to have these types of boxing events that they had going on right now, the type of UFC events, F1 Formula Racing, all of that, right? This is the reason why they have all of that going on right now, because they are able to afford a level of security that they weren't able to do because of, well, Osama bin Laden, unfortunately, right? He created a lot of problems for Saudi Arabia. He asked Saudi Arabia to volunteer him and his mujahideen, which he had fought and defeated the Russians with, as a way to go in there and tackle Saddam Hussein taking over Kuwait, which, by the way, was an ally of Saudi Arabia. So what did the Saudis do? They laughed at him and said, well, we want the United States to protect us instead. We don't think that it's sufficient enough for you to protect us. And as a result, this created a resentment in Osama bin Laden, and hence his war against the United States and the West to follow after that. Now, what followed after that was in the 90s, and this is something that was vouched by the CIA agent by the name of Michael Scheuer, okay, who was the head of the bin Laden unit from the 1990s all the way to 2004, was his time in the case of working on Osama bin Laden, right? So he had mentioned and said that Saudi Arabia used to be very safe in the 1990s. And then what happened? Well, what happened was that Saudi Arabia became a haven for Al-Qaeda, and as a result, shootouts were happening on the daily basis. That wasn't until the Saudis came in there, well, a different regime of the Saudis, a different royal family that came into power as a result of transitional and generational pass down. Okay, so in other words, there was a king that had passed away, and as a result, a family member that was close to the next of kin or the next to be in line of the throne had captured that throne, and as a result of that, created a different vision for Saudi Arabia. Hence why now you have the world of Riyadh season, Turkey Al-Sheikh, who, by the way, is a close friend of the Saudi royal family. And I've told you guys this in a video that I made about Turkey Al-Sheikh, in the Canelo video, in which I had mentioned about his what do you call it? His deal that he has going on right now with Turkey Al-Sheikh, right? I briefly go into the details and the history of Turkey Al-Sheikh and what is his role in all of this, right? Well, what is their role in cultivating boxing and cultivating the UFC? Well, is it to create a better image of the world? Sure, every country does this. Saudi Arabia is not unique in this. It's also not unique for any country in the world to do this. Uzman Khan says, from Pakistan, love you. Shout out to you, my man. Hope you press like, and also join my community members only section. Okay, very cheap, $1 only. Please come through and pull up. So shout out to everybody in Pakistan that's showing love out there, my man. So now going into the Bilal Muhammad and the Ian Gary fight, obviously we went into the politics of Saudi Arabia, of Qatar. And for those of you that don't know, I told you guys that Qatar is the Switzerland of the Middle East. Now, why is that significant? Well, obviously, there was an attack that happened in Qatar as of late. Well, for those of you that don't know, there is a Taliban office in Qatar. If you guys did not know that, there's also a Hamas office in Qatar. So what does that mean? Well, that means that they are being harbored by the Qatari government due to the fact that the Qatari government is a neutral state. It is not against the United States, but it is also not in favor of helping the United States if, let's say, they were to go to war with a faction that the United States doesn't deem desirable in any way. That would be, i.e., the Taliban or Hamas in Palestine, right? So that is the reality of Middle Eastern politics as it relates to this fight with UFC Qatar. Truth Seeker says, did you delete my comment? No, I did not, my man. No, I did not. Please write that again. Well, because look, you have to understand, Truth. Yeah, I wasn't even moving my hands while I was talking the whole time. My hands were right here. So I don't know. I definitely wasn't me. My assumption is that maybe you had said something. Yeah, I didn't think so. Wow, the censorship is crazy. Well, what did you say in, that would, yeah, I just asked you if you thought, oh, okay, got it. No, I don't think that it was at all, Marty. I don't think that it was. I don't think that it's complicated to understand that there were mujahideen out there that was against the United States, and as a result of being against the United States, they wanted to plan a grandiose attack. Now, the conspiracy and the void that is being filled by a lot of the conspiracy theorists out there, such as Alex Jones, such as David Icke, all of these characters that have been notorious for 9/11 conspiracies. You can add Eddie Bravo into that mix as well, even Joe Rogan. What they kind of miss out is this. Hold on, let me unplug this in. Okay, so what they miss out, hold on there. Okay, what Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo and these types are missing is this. What they are missing is the failures of the intelligence community, the failures, and not only that, also the nefarious aspects of, well, all right, if you don't tell them that this happens, maybe we can cash out some kind of insurance behind it, right? Fresh Melon Juice says you can add the Tiger blood guy. Truth Seeker says, I think Alex Jones is a controlled opposition. That's why he's over the top and acts like he's nuts. Fresh says, I deleted an order from the CIA. All right, man. Yeah, I don't think that was the case. So, okay. So, no, I don't think that's what it was. What I will say is that obviously Saudi Arabia felt damaged by the image of the reality that 9/11 came from 11 Saudi hijackers. But that is not the result of Saudi Arabia as a government or Saudi Arabia as a people. That is just a result of the fact that Saudi Arabia is naturally going to be a fundamentalist Islamic country. And as such, you are going to attract people that are going to sort of steer into the radical side of things, right? That is not a far-fetched, plausible reality. Truth Seeker says, have you ever seen the footage of the plane hitting the Pentagon? Yes. Now, that looks mighty suspicious, and I can understand where your suspicion may come from with that, right? But still, I wouldn't you know what? That right there has plausible reality into accepting the fact that, all right, you know what? There is something that we have to really look at in that particular light. So, all right. So, okay. Now, let's talk about, while I have a little bit of some European soccer in the background, okay, because I'm going to be playing a little bit of my season mode online FIFA game right here while I talk to you guys. Have the sound of European soccer in the background. You want to know why? Because we're going to talk about Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett. Now, why is that significant? Well, the significance of that is trying to understand that Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria are a representation of the new type of fan base that the UFC wants to bring along. What exactly is that? They want to bring in the soccer crowd, okay? Do you hear this sound right now in the background right now? This is what they want in UFC fights. You hear that? This is what they want in UFC fights. They want fans that are loud, fans that are engageful, because guess what? You as the American fan, that is not something that you are going to do. You're just not going to have this type of loudness the way that these Spanish, English, Liverpool Scousers, Spanish Madrid type of fans, they just have a different type of enthusiasm, right? This is the type of crowd that Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria are going to attract. Now, Justin Gaethje says that, give me a title shot or I'm going to retire. Guess what the UFC said? Nobody is bigger than the program. So as a result of the fact that nobody is bigger than the program, what did they decide to do? They said, see ya, goodbye. They told him, ciao, get up out of here. That's what they told him. Get up out of here. Why? Well, the reason why they're telling them to get up out of here is for the simple fact that here's Paddy Pimblett, who is marketable, okay? Now, look, does Paddy Pimblett deserve the title shot right now with the type of competition that he had fought? In all honesty, no, he doesn't. But I'll tell you what he does deserve. The fact that he has Liverpool behind him, a very big fan base in soccer, and the fact that
We got here first. We did it. No, it's just right there.
Good morning, guys.
We wake up, good morning, it's a brand new day. Blue skies above, it's a perfect day.
This is Buick now. Buick, exceptional by design.
Get 0.9% APR on these 2025 Buick models. Plus, current eligible non-GM owners get up to $3,000 allowance on Encore GX.
it's money and attraction way more than Justin Gaethje could ever bring. Fresh Melendry says the fans has nothing to do with the Euro fighters and everything to do with Euro football hooligan culture. There you go. That's what they want to bring into it. Truth Seeker says based on the new UFC model, he deserves it. Yes, that is it. That is exactly what it is, Truth Seeker. He absolutely deserves it based on the fact that he has a fan base. Also, look, Paddy Pimblett, let's not make bones about it, right? Can we all agree that Paddy Pimblett was given some, good setup fights? Can we agree to that, right? His fights were set up for him to win, for him to develop. Very similar to what they do with European boxers and American fighters that fight out of the PBC and the Golden Boy promotions. Right? They sort of created that same thing. Hate Love says hi. Hey, hello. How are you, Hate Love? Man, shout out to you, one of the fellow members of my members section only, where I talk about real controversial things and also give you secrets about fighters that nobody else will probably know or talk about in that. Truth Seeker says, yeah, they've done a much better job in the past few years in bringing guys up. Right. So if you guys remember Roger Huerta back in the days, do you guys remember who that is? Roger Huerta was a Latino fighter in the UFC back in 2007. He had the quintessential 2007-ish tribal tattoos on his back. He had the whole Mexican, heartthrob, I look like I'm a Latin singer / actor type of look about him, right? They didn't do a very good job of protecting him, but he was a star. He was one of the first mixed martial arts fighters to be in Sports Illustrated, as Anthony Pettis was one of the first mixed martial arts fighters to have been featured on a Wheaties box, right? Fresh Melon Juice says, when you talk about the bantamweight GOAT, you have to dismiss Merab's fights versus O'Malley because that was a manufactured and fake. Explain to me what you mean by manufactured and fake, Fresh Melon Juice, right? Because obviously it doesn't seem that there's anything fake about O'Malley's fights, other than you know what? Him and Paddy have had the same type of upbringing in the UFC. Would you agree to that? Right? Like their whole entire trajectory is very much the same, in my opinion. You hear that, crowd? That is what Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett bring to the game. They bring guys like that. Fresh Melon Juice says, O'Malley, never and will never be top 5. Hate Love says, I did not know that, Fresh. That's very interesting. Look, O'Malley was built by Uriah Faber and Snoop Dogg. You guys remember how Snoop Dogg and Uriah Faber had their own special commentary option in the UFC Fight Pass when UFC Fight Pass was hosting Dana White's Contender Series, right? Snoop Dogg and Uriah made him a star. By the way, FYI, you know who else Snoop Dogg helped make a star was Khabib. The reaction that he made in 2016 when Khabib was beating the heck out of Michael Chandler, man, it was the greatest stamp and the greatest seal of approval ever from a legend like Snoop Dogg in the way that he was praising Khabib. He was like, ooh, Khabib, Nurmagomedov, whatever his name is, man, you know what? Whoever, 155, I'm going with him, right? Cece says, Assalamu alaikum from Dubai. Dubai, shout out to you, my man. Hey, so are you going to be tapped into the Artem Lobov versus Zubaira fight? How about that, right? That fight is going on, by the way. Cece says Sugar Sean would be famous with or without Snoop and Uriah Faber. Facts. That's very true, but it helped. It helped create a viral moment to where it catapulted that, and then it just started a fire from there, right? And then obviously after that, it was all in the work of Sean O'Malley and his brilliant social media skills that sort of got him there as well, right? But Snoop and Uriah were a propelled, basically a propel rocket to get him to the top, in my humble opinion, for what that's worth. So,
Lizard.
ooh, okay. He saved that one. All right. So just putting the sounds of, the soccer world for you guys, because obviously the main topic right now is Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett fighting. Now, look, the story writes itself, right? Remember when Conor McGregor threw that dolly in the bus? Well, now we have Mr. Hand Sanitizer, and as a result of that, it wrote itself its own script. Now, the fact that it had been able to write its own script, it was absolutely brilliant, all right? It made it easier for everybody to promote this fight. They had a rivalry. This fight could easily be distracted by a mandatory or maybe even an Islam Makhachev fight, but that's still up there. Look, now that makes the Islam Makhachev fight even bigger. Because let's be honest about this. Do you honestly think that Paddy Pimblett could beat Ilia Topuria? My answer is no. Oh, yeah, by the way, that's another matchup that was made, but obviously I had promised that I was only going to focus on Bilal and Ian and Topuria and Paddy. But yes, we'll talk about Hangman and Armin as well. Any matchups that were signed, obviously that was not the only matchups that were signed, but we're going casual mode right now. But can Hangman beat Armin? I'm going to say yes. Look, Hooker is the type of guy that could beat anybody at any given Saturday. He's that type of fighter. You guys know it, right? Like, he makes mistakes, he gets knocked out by certain guys, but then there are certain guys that are elite level that he can really give problems to based on his length, also based on his experience, right? See, here's the thing about experience that you guys have to really take into high consideration, right? Experience is so underrated. Why? Simply because of the fact that when you see somebody get knocked out or when you see somebody lose, you have this inherent recency biasness. He's no good. I saw him get knocked out by Michael Chandler, which, by the way, you all did. You saw him get knocked out by Michael Chandler. But does it mean that he can be knocked out by Armin Tsarukyan? Maybe not. Why? Because Armin Tsarukyan is grappling heavy. So what are we talking about here? Styles make matchups. Well, what happens if he stuffs the takedowns, uses his length, uses his jab, uses his front kicks that Dan Hooker is notorious to be known to use for, especially with the long style Muay Thai that he fights with. It's not that far-fetched to see that he can catch Arman Tsarukyan maybe with a knee in the clinch, an elbow, or some sort of straight shots to basically put him out there, right? So it's a possibility. I like that matchup, right? You cannot disregard Dan Hooker just because you saw him lose a couple of times, is what I'm saying. Styles make fights, and this could... All right. So, check this out. We are now into the Fight News live section of this live stream right now. So, for those of you that are tapped in right now, we are live. We have Fight News. Obviously, this weekend there was a BKFC card that was going to feature Frankie Edgar and another former UFC vet, Jimmy Rivera. And then Jeremy Stevens has a fight against Mike Perry. So all four of these guys are UFC alumni. And then there's one UFC fighter who is still active by the name of Conor McGregor, who happens to own the whole entire organization. Well, anyways, Conor McGregor gets into it with Mike Perry. He says to Mike Perry, "You're not a real world champion." And in that argument, I'm going to be honest with you, I think he is absolutely correct. He is absolutely correct. He's not a world champion. What Mike Perry has won in the BKFC is that similar to what you would call a BMF belt in the UFC, right? And if Mike Perry was going to continue on to fight in the UFC, for sure they were going to give him a BMF fight with somebody, right? Whether it would be somebody at 170, 155, or maybe Max Holloway for him to move up, or one way or another. They were going to give him a fight similar to that, but that is the level that he is at in BKFC and in MMA. And that is all Conor McGregor is really trying to proclaim. Hold on, let me change the... Okay, there we go. All right. So, okay, so... All right, a lot better. Okay, so as I was saying, yes, Mike Perry is not a real world champion in the sense of BKFC, nor is he a real world champion in the world of MMA or the UFC. And that is all that he is trying to say. And Conor McGregor said in an interview that I think Jeremy Stevens is really trying to be a champion. I think he's really out there trying to win titles, and that is what he's here for in the BKFC. Now, from what I understand, are these two going to fight for having a chance against Conor McGregor and BKFC? I'm going to be honest with you. I think that is a farce. What I think is going on is that Conor McGregor wants to sort of linger his name out a little bit longer in terms of, well, all right, let me give you an example, okay? I knew a lot of guys in the gym when it came to the fight gyms that would say, well, you know, I have a fight coming up. I got a fight coming up in maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and then the fight never happened. They'll say that the opponent pulled out, and sometimes it's true, right? And then sometimes it's them that pulls out on the fight. What I'm trying to say is they just want something to talk about in between, right? To feel special in between. But then when that time comes, in the case of Conor McGregor, it's sort of like, oh, they didn't give me the $100 million. They didn't give me the 100 gold visas that Trump had promised. And by the way, there is no guarantee that that would even hold weight in the next upcoming administration after Trump. Right? But that's a side conversation for another thing, right? So what I'm trying to say is that McGregor is using his fights, or quote unquote so-called fights that he's supposed to have, as some sort of leverage, whether it's leveraging his name, leveraging promotional value, whether it's for the BKFC or UFC itself or just whatever it is. That's all it is. By the end of the day, it is nothing more than creating name value for himself for that time being. But when that date actually comes, it's a farce. It's a farce, and then you'll forget about it. Then he'll announce another fight. Oh, next I'm going to sign up for the NHL. If it's not Ireland or running for president or prime minister, if it's not the White House fight with Michael Chandler, now it's not the Michael Chandler fight because I want $100 million trying to price him out. Oh, it's the U.S. government that I am now negotiating with, not the UFC. Maybe he's right. Because there's a lot of, taxpayers' dollars that are going to be involved in this. So you never know. All right. But in other news with that, obviously, Frankie Edgar is out of his fight at the BKFC. So usually some news sources that a lot of content creators and MMA journalists will use is other MMA journalists, right? So I found something interesting right here. How about the NJ.com website? So what do we have right here? NJ fighting legend Frankie Edgar dropped from a fight card due to medical concerns. Okay, so this is October 2nd, 2025, which by was Thursday. Today is Friday of October 3rd. Okay, and this is the same day that Usman and Paul Hughes are fighting, which, by the way, you are watching right now as we are reacting to it in this pre-show. Right, this is a pre-show. We're not gonna do the entire card. I don't think. I didn't expect this to be on a Friday, but I had decided, hey, you know what? Throw this on as a live stream, and let's get this cracking. But on any regard, okay. So Frankie Edgar, medical concerns. What are the UFC champion Frankie Edgar during the sparring session driveway of a home in Millstone, New Jersey? Very familiar with that area, by the way. Former Frankie Edgar from his retirement has ended before the weigh-ins. Okay, so Edgar, who's 43, was scheduled to fight Elmwood Park police officer. Wow. So this is the first time police officer. How about that? Okay, and bare knuckle fighting championship event at Prudential Center. Be part of that card. He passed all the tests, Feldman said, who is the founder of BKFC. And right after they reviewed everything and went over with the team, a couple of outsiders from the Association of Ringside Physician Medical Officer just didn't feel comfortable moving forward. So it was the commission. Okay. Feldman noted that there was the possibility to alleviate these concerns with everybody who was concerned and move forward in his future. He is a great legend. We love him. Feldman said it is unfortunate circumstances. Rivera at 36 will still be part of the event. Did not immediately return calls for comment. Okay. So these are some of the things that they work on. EKG, New Jersey can be a pain in the ass. Okay, so this has something to do with the New Jersey commissions. Okay, family members and friends asked the fighter not to risk further injury with the return of combat sports, but he did cite that the fact that BKFC's only striking involvement was bare fist is beneficial to him. Okay. 7 hours and okay. Okay, so in other words, he's saying, yes, these types of fighting is much easier than, let's say, MMA, because there's not anyone grabbing his neck or this and that. Okay. All right, so there you have it. That is what we have with Frankie Edgar. Okay, so next in the news, okay. Okay, so next in the news, UFC weigh-ins. Yeah, UFC weigh-ins. So these are the official weigh-ins, okay? So it looks like no one pulled out. There's no problems with anyone in the card. Let's go over them real quick. Okay, so Ankalaev and where's the okay, so let's see. Daniel Santos is going to be a catchweight bout. Something happened here between these two. Joe Sanyu 152, Daniel Santos 153, Chris Gutierrez makes weight at 136, Fareed makes 136, Edmund Shabazian 185 and a half, 185 for Andre Munez as well. 86, Treston makes 185. All right. Soriano, who, by the way, was also featured in the Embedded series. Yes, he is at 175.5 and 170.5 with Nikolai Bahars, 175.5. Austin Vanderfort coming party and Brogan Walker weight 125.5. A lot of 0.5s. Wonder. So is this it? Let's see here.
You are even prettier in person.
Thank you.
There's a reason ball boys make especially attentive waiters.
Horrible
great. That's why I put him on my list.
He's on a nice little tear. Yeah. Then it would be if the timing works out. Obviously, if Mario Batista is able to beat Umar.
Mario.
What is it? Mario.
I just love how East Coasters say.
So I didn't hear your joke. I don't.
UFC.
It'll be his ability.
Weight title here in 2025.
Okay, so Marab definitely did weigh in.
Marab.
Okay, so all these people weighed in. All right, so okay, let's go with the results right here, just so we're not getting any video play. Okay, so Magomed, yes, and 0.4. Okay, yeah, there's something with the 0.5s there. A lot of 0.5s. I wonder if the scale is off in any kind of way. All right, so Joe Pfeiffer, we got to fight Abus Magomed, Josh Laljiri Prohachka. Okay, and then Khalil Roundtree. All right, middleweight. Yeah, we talked about that one. We talked about these fights. Patchy Mix, 136. Good. Okay, so got everybody. Everybody is in, and we are ready for the official weigh-ins later on, right? We are not official weigh-ins, the ceremonial weigh-ins. All right, guys. So just wanted to tap in and give you guys some news on this one. Back to the video that I live streamed yesterday. All right. We'll see you guys later on. I will not be live streaming from this one all the way to the end of the fight, but yeah, check out this live stream I did the other day. Just wanted to tap in live real quick just to give you guys this news. All right, back at it to the live stream from October 1st. Video about this, right? You guys could look it up on the video section where I talk about the racial undertones in the part of El-Kheer. I'm sorry, Paddy Pimblett. He said, no wonder the Russians, T-word you guys, right? That is an insane thing to say to a person that comes from a country that has actually been ravaged by war. Now, look, would you guys say that the Palestinians can sort of relate to the same thing? I think so, right? I think there's the same type of correlation that maybe the Georgians felt in a similar fashion that the Palestinians sort of feel in the hands of the Israelis. The Georgians have felt in the hands of the Russians. And Patty went there. Fresh Melon Juice says, but a grown man who decided to start to fill his body with tattoos when the IQ can't be too high. You know what? It's not so much of the IQ that Ilia Topuria has tattoos, right? I think it has something to do with ego more than anything. I think you would agree to that, right? It has something to do more with ego more than anything. Would you guys agree to that or not? Right? Like there's an ego factor there for people that have tattoos. You guys usually see these guys that have all the tattoos in the world, right? Oh, look at me. I'm bad. I'm scorned or this and that. But in reality, a lot of these dudes, they are, I don't know, man. I'm not easily fooled or impressed by any of this is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like I see right through it. And I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think, right? Like guys with tattoos, I mean, it's very stereotypical, isn't it? Like if you think about it, very stereotypical. Like, yeah, of course they're going to all look like that. Fresh Melon Juice says, Greta Thunberg. What do you mean, Greta Thunberg? Please explain in context what you mean by that. What brought up Greta Thunberg in that? Let me know. All right, so going back to, let's talk about the kicks and punches. Obviously, I went to the political side of UFC Qatar. All right, I went there on that one, the UFC Qatar side and the political implications. Now let's get to the kicks and punches of this particular fight, right? Because I think that's important to talk about as well, right? The kicks and punches that are involved with Belal Muhammad and Ian Gary.
Fall in love with your home this season at RC Willey. This week, save $50 to $200 on your new purchase. Transform your space with stylish furniture, festive decor, and the latest appliances. Get your home holiday ready today. RC Willey, your home, your way.
Look, would you guys say that JDM is a very similar fighter to Ian Gary, right? I think it would be a very similar fight, but whose wrestling is stronger between JDM and Ian Gary? I would probably say maybe JDM's wrestling is a little bit stronger. Why do I say that? Because he trains with Craig Jones, and it's showed in the Belal Muhammad fight, right? Fresh Melon Juice says, I think you're playing a video game trying to make it in the podcast world. I think you're playing a video game trying to make it in the podcast world. Moicano doesn't do that. Scores 100K views every time now. Okay, well, I don't know what you're trying to do with what, I mean, like you're trying to compare. I don't know, man. Like, I'm not one of these people that goes out and tries to compare my situation to others or this and that. I could tell you that having clout as a fighter, having notoriety as a fighter doesn't translate in dollars. Okay, I can tell you right now that I probably live better than some of your favorite fighters, right? And I don't think that's me bragging in any kind of way. I think that's just me being honest and something that is tangible that you guys have seen out of my lifestyle, right? So yeah. Hate Love says, so why are you here? I think you're right. That's a good question. I think he just does that because you know, he likes to troll, and yeah, he's saying focus Daniel's son. I think Armin is going to destroy Hooker. But either way, you know what? I always appreciate the constructive criticism that comes here also, right? Oftentimes, look, oftentimes a lot of people like to call constructive criticism hate. Oh, this guy's a hater. This guy hates on me, or this and that. Well, no, maybe sometimes they really are trying to give you critical advice, constructive criticism. For example, like one of the many few MMA streamers out there, I actually go and train on my MMA stream, right? I actually train here. So people make comments. Oh, you're not moving your head enough. Okay, maybe you're right. But there are people that would say, oh, well, you're slow while I'm in the middle of, like, let's say round number 8 after going hard for 7 rounds. And then I'm still going at round number 12 while these people don't have an understanding of what speed looks like at a later round or what speed looks like at the variations in between a fight, right? Or in the middle of a fight. But there are people out there who actually do give constructive criticisms and not just people that troll. So as a result of that, you know, this is sort of one of the things that I like to emphasize in my channel. Look, there's a lot of toxic things that I allow in the chats, but then there's also a lot of positivity that I somehow managed to fester between you guys, right? Like if you notice, there's people in the chats that greet each other. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, how are you? What, you know, me, the same way. Let me know what part of the world you are from. And let me know what the weather is like where you're from, because I'm genuinely interested in these things, right? I'm genuinely interested in people and different people from different parts of the world. And as a result of that, I think there's a positivity that is genuine, that is real, that is not fake or being forced in any kind of way or being, what's the word I'm looking for here? Ransom to a certain degree where the desire of being a good person or the desire of being a relatable person is not there, because it is. Fresh Melon Juice says, Ben Shapiro turned to how much money he makes when he's cornered. Okay, yeah, that's very true, right? That is a weird thing for a lot of people to do. He says, you are the same. Well, when you're talking about how an MMA fighter who has the backing of the UFC versus somebody who has never fought in the UFC, who has, you know, just started a channel from scratch, but given, of course, I've actually fought, so there is some kind of a status quo credibility there, right? And I do train on my channel, so there's another credibility in that. In comparison to a UFC fighter, right? You're trying to compare apples and oranges, and I'm just not, you know, in that game. I'm just not in that game of trying to compare. But the reality is the reality when I tell you that a lot of fighters are broke. A lot of fighters are struggling no matter how much fame they have. And this also goes for a lot of rappers. I know rappers that have 1 million views on their YouTube or their Spotify and still live in the projects. That's just the reality of the world, right? There are Fresh Melon Juices, it's haram however you twist, and it's haram however you twist and turn. What exactly is haram? What's also haram is comparing you know, with the Joneses. That's also haram as well. So, but I get it. I understand. I understand you. I know what you are intending, right? You know what? As somebody that is anonymous as you, I think that you are also very honest and also genuine. I think you're genuine as well, right? Just the things that you write. Obviously, I don't know you from a can of paint. I don't know what you look like, or will I ever know what you look like? But what I do know is that you do give constructive criticism. So, you know, that's that. Okay, so back to the kicks and punches with Bilal Muhammad and Ian Gary, right? Now, look, I think that this is one of those matchups where the wrestling is going to be on the side of Belal Muhammad. I swear to you, the wrestling is going to be on his side because I could absolutely see Ian Gary get out-wrestled in this fight.
What's the secret to peak health?
Going micro with Noom. Micro habits, micro wins, even microdose GLP-1s.
Micro? I can do micro.
Get started at Noom.com.
Our seat covers aren't just engineered for comfort. Ford had to build a whole damn truck around them. The F-350 was basically built as their accessory.
Well, did I not just say that JDM and Ian Gary have the same style? Yes, but JDM has the better wrestling. Drizzy Goat says Gary beats Belal. You know what? MMA Guru came up with that. I'm not saying that you got that from MMA Guru as well, right? And yes, Gary is a big guy. He's like 6'3" at welterweight. But what cuts down big guys at 6'3"? You know what that is? It is wrestling. Wrestling, right? When you wrestle someone, it doesn't matter if they're 6'3" or if they are 7 feet tall. The one thing you can expect in wrestling is that the taller guy is going to be made short if the shorter guy knows how to wrestle. And this is where Belal Muhammad style comes in my humble opinion, right? But we will see. Obviously, that is in November 22nd. That's not too far from now. Drizzy Goat says he went 5 with Shafkat. For me, Shafkat is the best in that division. So what makes Gary number 2? But we also have not seen Shafkat with Belal Muhammad, and that also remains to be seen. So that right there is, yeah, that's the quintessential factor that we have to, consider here. Hate Love says, yes, I seen you train. You don't change. You don't have to explain yourself if you're living your best life. And I think you are F the noise. Yes. Okay. Yes. A very positive message there. Drizzy Goat says Shafkat would finish Belal. We had an opportunity to see that fight, but it never came to fruition, right? And that is the reason why Ian Gary was thrust into that fight with Shafkat Rahmani. That's just the reality of that fight. Belal stinks after the performance against Jack. Here's the thing. I think Jack is really at a high level that we may not appreciate, right? And I will say to that effect that Islam is going to have a much harder fight than what people believe. But I think Islam comes out of it the winner, right? So Islam is not going to have an easy fight. Okay, make no mistake about that. He's not going to have an easy fight. But at the same time, I think that he still wins it because he's just way more skilled than JDM regardless of the size. And I think the size of Islam Makhachev will be enough. Drizzy Goat says he went away from what got him to the dance, started boxing. Drizzy Goat says Islam subs Jack in 1 round easily. And there it is. Once again, what is the pattern of Drizzy Goat? What does he like to do? He likes to call first round, because you know what, man, there are first rounds that you called and they have happened live right here as we were reacting to the fights, right? And by the way, guys, come check me out this weekend as well. I will be watching the fights as well, whether it's going to be on radio form or on video. I will be here for the fights, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, but you have predicted some first round ones. And I think it's one of those things where it's sort of like a guess, right? Like, all right, this is going to go into round 1. Or sometimes there were a few fights where I actually, we have BKFC cards too. Man, yeah, I'm going to probably have to watch that later on. Just like last week, right? James DeGale, one of my most favorite boxers to watch in the UK from back in the days, had a bare knuckle BKFC fight, right? So obviously there was UFC going on, so I wasn't able to really watch his fight, and I watched it after the fact. I think a lot of these UFC fights, BKFC fights that are going on, I'm going to watch after the fact. So, but yeah, that is is that the Frankie Edgar card as well? Is Frankie Edgar in that card as well with Jimmy Rivera? Is that the New Jersey BKFC card? I believe it is, right? Because obviously Mike Perry and Jeremy Stevens are in that as well. So, yes, Frankie and Mike Perry are in that card. All right, man. So, yeah, very stacked weekend of fights, obviously, that we have going on. UFC 320 is going to be stacked. All these fights that have been announced are going to be stacked, man, and I can't wait for them. So, all right, that is my prediction for that one. How about Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett? Well, all right. Before we get into that, I think one of the important characters to talk about in this, right, since we did talk about how Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett are important characters in the fight game and their sort of broad fan base that sort of stems from the world of soccer. For those of you that don't know, Liverpool FC sponsors Paddy Pimblett, where he does talk shows and podcasts about Liverpool FC. And Paddy has never played soccer in his life other than probably, fight in like hooligan style group fights, right, with Liverpool FC supporters versus Manchester City supporters or something like that.
Streak CRM for Gmail. All the standard CRM features, plus some inbox-powered magic.
Those who answer the call of the vagabond know that the best stories aren't about where you went. They're about how you got there. Because they know the real destination is the adventure itself. Firestone for those who answer the call of the vagabond.
Truth Seeker says Hillbilly Joe's first fight on the main card. Hillbilly Joe. Who is that? Remind me who that is, right? That sounds like a name that I have to know, but I don't know, honestly. Hate Love says, I want to see Mike Perry. He is always keeping me guessing with his fights. Well, I tell you what, man, Mike Perry, I think, is the best guy in that sport right now, right? I mean, he is certainly a main attraction for that sport. But is he the best at it? Well, I think that he is, right? Look, I remember when Mike Perry first came into the scene, one of the things that Luke Thomas used to say about him, he says that his propensity to be able to engage in violence is pretty high, right? And it is a reason why he's got a high finishing rate. Truth Seeker says, Joe Pfeiffer, LOL, you called him Hillbilly Joe before. Oh, yes. Gotcha. Yes, he's fighting Abus Magomedov, right? Who, by the way, was beaten by Sean Strickland as well. And I believe he's had some, Abus Magomedov out of Germany. So that's going to be an interesting fight. Man, yeah, Germany is... over the years, they tried to break into the MMA world, right? They obviously don't have the same type of fighters that, let's say, the UK or the United States, or even, how about this, Australia, right? I mean, look at one of the UFC executives, Shaw, right? He mentioned in the post-fight press conference at UFC Perth, he says that, man, a lot of the fights that we have going on, there's a lot of Aussies that are involved in the card, right? So they are a big contingency in the UFC. Germans, not so much, right? But one thing that is significant in German combat sports is, I believe, Klitschko. Even though he's Ukrainian, he's big in the German sphere of things, because when it was his... in which country are you in? I'm in the United States, Sacramento, California, represent, baby. So shout out to you, Q and B. Let me know what part of the world you are from. Yeah, so... What was I saying? Let me know in the chat what I was saying while I while I finish the last 2 minutes of this game right here. Ooh. Yeah, let me know what country you are at, QNB.
Expanding access to a world of investing was reserved for select few. Explore our world of public-private plus funds. Take the first step. Stability, precision, that's the industry.
In the fight team, what do they break into the MMA world, right? They obviously don't. Oh, okay, yeah, Germans, right? So, okay, yeah, Germans breaking into the MMA world. Obviously, yeah, they're big into boxing. One of the biggest boxing names that I had mentioned was obviously Klitschko. Right now, it's Aget Bagael. That's a big name that they have going on. Bro, you keep freezing. I'll be right back. Gonna restart my phone. Okay. Well, how about now? Obviously, I'm not freezing right now, am I? So, you know, I hope you know, everything's good. You know, on that note right there. So, yeah. There's just certain countries that don't break into MMA as easily. France, obviously, I think is a bit of a powerhouse. France is Ngannou. Cyril Gane. Now, how big would French MMA be if, let's say, you got Cyril Gane to beat Tom Aspinall in the upcoming Abu Dhabi fight? Where, by the way, it's on the same month. How about that, man? So we got 320 coming up this weekend, and then 320 then turns into 321 on the same month, October 25th. So.
When your severe asthma says you can't, Tespire says you can. Tespire is an add-on treatment for people 12 and over that helps you prevent attacks and relieve asthma symptoms. Tespire is not a rescue medication. Serious allergic reactions may occur. Get help for swelling of your face, mouth, tongue, trouble breathing. Rash or eye allergy can happen. Don't stop asthma treatments without talking to your doctor. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection or your asthma worsens. Avoid live vaccines. Sore throat, joint, back pain may occur.
Access the broadest range of college expertise all in one place. Visit KaplanCollegePrep.com.
Yeah, man, let me know, guys. Hopefully, I'm no longer lagging or, you know, or not getting any freezing or anything like that, because we are here to talk about the fights that were announced. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about also is Justin Gaethje, right? I think he's the ultimate loser out of all of this, right? Nobody is bigger than the program. He told the UFC, hey, listen, you know what? I'm either going to get a title shot or I'm either going to retire. Like, that is the trajectory that I want out of my career right now. And what did the UFC do? Well, the UFC said, hey, you know what? Listen, nobody is bigger than the program, young man. So, you know what? Because of that, get to the back of the line, go in the back of the line and do as you're told. And so he said, you know what? Well, I'm going to retire. So guess what? They decided that, hey, we're just going to bring Paddy Pimblett in here. He's a bigger matchup. And not only is he a bigger matchup, he's a bigger draw. So off you go. And whatever complaints that you have going on, forget your winning streak or this and that. This is not about meritocracy or winning streaks or this and that, or sometimes it is. But sometimes you can be overpassed by a guy that has more clout than you. And that is quintessentially what Paddy Pimblett is. Right? He is able to basically surpass Justin Gaethje, even though Justin Gaethje has given us big fights, exciting fights. He's also a big name. But having Paddy in there makes it an even bigger name. Right? Ilia Topuria now made himself big. There was a point where Ilia Topuria was way less than Paddy Pimblett. Now, I would say that Ilia Topuria is a bigger star than that of Paddy Pimblett. Even though Paddy Pimblett is still a star, still, regardless, Ilia Topuria went up there, okay? Levels. He went levels above him. Went way 100 times of the levels above him, okay? That is the reality of Ilia Topuria right now. Now, as for Paddy Pimblett, unfortunately, well, he still had to develop along the way. He had to develop still, even with that development. Look, I think it made the fight even bigger. It honestly made the fight even bigger because we are looking at a Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz type of rivalry in Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria. But Justin Gaethje, unfortunately, wanted to act like he was bigger than the program, and the UFC said, not so fast. Nobody is bigger than the program, and as a result, they decided they were going to go with Paddy. It was easy. It was easy for them to just go with Paddy. Why not? Why not just go with Paddy? Right? Now, UFC Qatar. This right here is monumental, but at the same time, it also speaks to the political influence of the Saudis in the Middle East. As you guys know, Qatar is also an ally of Saudi Arabia, and that is natural for Qatar to be an ally of Saudi Arabia because they are both powerhouses in the region. And not only that, Qatar, as I mentioned to you guys earlier, is the Switzerland of the Middle East. Okay, you guys understand that trajectory, right? They are the Switzerland of the Middle East, meaning that they can have relations with Israel, they can have relations with the United States, they can have relations with the Taliban on top of having relations with Hamas, right? This is a fact. This is a fact. This is just what they have going on. But as a result of that, this is also the reason why they're able to have a UFC fight. They are able to have a UFC fight because of that reason alone. So Hate Love says hi. Okay, so I'm assuming the reception is a whole lot better now. Hate Love, let me know how the reception is along with the audio and everything else in between, my man. So I'm curious to see how they will fill this card up, right? Now, look, here's what I will say. A UFC Qatar card is going to be filled up probably a whole lot better than a UFC Perth card, and quite honestly, a lot better than a UFC Apex card. That is a guaranteed. I'm back. Bad signal. Road works at 4. Okay, so it's basically you that has the bad signal, not necessarily my own live feed that you are saying. Okay. Well, that's that. Yeah, I was kind of worried there for a second. I thought it was me. Now, if it's you, that's one thing. Obviously, that is you know, a result of the environment that you're at, or just the overall strength signal within your area or region, as in comparison to, let's say, me broadcasting this to the world. And yeah.
Noom's going micro. Micro habits, micro wins, microdosed GLP-1s.
I'm stuck. My weight won't budge.
Been there, but Noom can help.
Bye-bye plateau.
Hello, micro. Get started at Noom.com.
Experience truly effortless positioning with an all-new GPS remote on GhostX. The new trolling motor from Lowrance. X marks the spot.
You know, being okay. So thank you for that clarification. So yes, a whole lot of political implications that go into this particular fight, but overall, the one thing that every Saudi, Qatar, Kuwait, not so much Kuwait, they should though, right? But they're not really up there with the entertainment factor yet. I think the only country within that region, obviously with the exception of the ones that are already in war-torn conditions like Syria, Yemen, or What else is an Arab state that's currently in war? Libya, right? Libya is a very wealthy country, right? But obviously is in a state of war. And as a result, yeah, it would not be very easy to, yeah, have a fight in that particular region. So, yeah, let's see. Okay, let's do a little research on these fights, right? Let's see if there are any particular fights that could be signed in these particular cards. Okay, Hate Love says, yeah, Justin shot his own foot with a silly threat to the UFC. You're absolutely right about that, man, because, look, the UFC has a motto, right? Well, I don't know if I would necessarily call it a motto, but what I would call it is, you know, just a reality check for a lot of fighters with big egos and thinking that they are bigger than the program. That's really what it comes down to, right? Nobody in the UFC is bigger than the program. And as a result of that fact, this is what you get, okay? They can replace you at any time, and indeed they did. Paddy Pimblett is a much bigger name than Justin Gaethje, and this is a test, right, to see if he really is a big name. You ask anybody in England, hey, do you know who Paddy Pimblett is? They will tell you yes. You ask them who Justin Gaethje is, I highly doubt they will know unless they are UFC fans themselves, right? And obviously people like that would probably be a minority in the UK, even though as big as it is, there's just other things that they are far more interested in than the UFC. Obviously, there is rugby all year round. Well, I don't know about all year round. Obviously, Premier League soccer, that is, you know, a big factor that you have to contend with, right? All of these things, right? What else? Gaelic football, cricket, a wide range of different sports. So, yeah, that's just the reality of that region, right? Like MMA is not as big as you think that it is, right? Let's clarify this for a second, right? A lot of people who swear up and down how big MMA is, I think they overestimate it. But what I will say is, sort of transitioning this into the White House talk. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go into that as much. I mean, unless you do, or if you guys have some questions about it. What I will say about the UFC White House card, right, is I think it will propel MMA into a bigger stratosphere. And with the accessibility to television in combat sports now, having the Paramount deal, having the Netflix Saudi deal, all of these things, I think it will propel the sport into a whole new level. And that is the next thing I'm going to talk about in a second. If you could just hold on just a second, okay? Because we will talk about the pay-per-view era versus the free TV era. Okay, I think that's the bonus next topic that we are going to go into in just a second here. So, okay. All right, guys. So back in the days, we're talking about the Muhammad Ali days, right? It was free television to watch him and Frazier, to watch him and Foreman rumble in the jungle, all of that, right? All of that was free, okay? All of that was free. Then the 1980s came along. They started to have HBO. They started to have Showtime. They started to create a different world of commercialism, right?
Wherever you are, get what fits. Even when you're on the move. Get what you need on your time, every time. On parts.cat.com.
Exclusivity, in combat sports, in particular boxing pay-per-views. So now it was on demand, but you had to pay for it. Okay. Mike Tyson was one of those fights where the fights were just last like that, right? But people paid money for it. Now they were either interested in the undercards or just leading up to seeing a knockout that was quick, fast, and basically felt like you wasted your money. So now in comes the new era of streams. What happened in the world of streams? Well, the unfortunate thing that happened in the world of streams is that the UFC and combat sports became accessible, but it became accessible to people with IQs higher than 80, okay? Because let me tell you, not everybody is up on the illegal streams. They don't know how to maneuver it. They don't know or have enough computer literacy to really understand or put themselves in these positions, right? That's what we have going on right now. Unfortunately, it caught on. A lot of people became computer literate, okay, to the point where now it was a problem. You're talking about maybe estimated 10 million people illegally stream every week. And I'm not talking about one particular event. I'm talking about just a multitude of events that they should be paying for, right? Whether it would be a boxing event or a Muay Thai event or a ONE FC event or whatever it is that should be put on pay-per-view. A lot of people are streaming it. Hate Love says, who was that guy in your chat? I think the other day, I think he's talking about, I think you talks about him. It was weird. Yeah, I don't know. You're going to have to elaborate on that a little bit of who you are referring to, my man, because obviously, yeah, I've been, doing a lot of live streams as of late, as of a couple of months. So, for me to reference a particular live stream and to give it some kind of original remembrance or something unique behind it, as in comparison to the other days, yeah, it would be very difficult to remember, unless of course you bring it up or you can assist me in remembering what you are talking about, or the context, or something a little more exact to sort of pinpoint what you are talking about. But nonetheless, okay, so in comes Turkey El-Sheikh, right? What did he decide to do? He decided, hey, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. We're going to end pay-per-views because we're going to go back to the old ways, okay? When it was free television, when it was available on ABC and things of that nature, and we're just going to do it like that, okay? We're going to have fights that are available on Netflix, and then just go from there. That's the trajectory that they were going for. Well, now Turkey has caught on and understands the internet world, because there's this video by this guy named Patrick Gavea, right? Where he talks about the origin of Turkey El-Sheikh, and it kind of inspired me to make a video of my own, regarding the same particular topic, right? So I noticed how he had mentioned, or at least he had clipped up an interview where Turkey El-Sheikh has said that him and Mohammed bin Salman would play video games for hours, right? And it dawned to me, it was like, man, these guys are real legitimate fight fans, and they're just like everybody else. They're bro guys. You know what I mean? Like, they are guys that are like these college bros, but they are the ones that have the influence and the power to do what they need to do in this world of combat sports. They are the power movers and the shakers of the sport. So that is the only difference, in comparison to everybody else. But they are like everybody else. They are just like you and me, fight fans of this game, and now they have control over it and are going to remake it to their image. And what exactly is that? Well, they understand that people out there can illegally stream because they themselves have probably done it as well. Even though they didn't need to, they probably have all the money in the world to.
Get this exceptional offer on select Cadillac models.
Leave basic behind with Floor & Decor's new Hydro Shield Plus styles. Our waterproof laminate offers the durability you need in the wood look styles you love. Starting at $149, shop in store or visit us online at flooranddecor.com.
Buy pay-per-views and afford what is it now, like to be a UFC fan you had to spend like $1,000 a year or something like that, or something ridiculous like that. Even though they could afford it, they still understood how to illegally stream a fight. And so they knew that it was a problem. So they decided, hey, you know what? We're going to create a new solution to this. And that new solution is going to be, pay-per-views. You know, it's going to be pay-per-views eliminated, but pay-per-views where you have to pay Netflix and then it's a one-time deal only. So that's the reality of combat sports today in terms of broadcast and marketing. They had to evolve with the times. That's really what it comes down to. It is all about just evolving with the times. Yes, was pay-per-view feasible at a certain stage of combat sports? Yes. But what about today? Is it worth it? And I think the Saudis and the Netflix deals and all these Paramount deals that the UFC is trying to do, I think they are starting to understand that maybe it's not worth it the way that it used to be. And that is why you just got to evolve and change over time. So, yeah. All right. Okay, let's see here. Just looking for something here. All right, guys. In the next coming minutes, I'm going to announce something that I'm going to put in my next video, which is what we're going to talk about right now. Okay. And then from here, I think we're going to end the video from here. So, yeah. Yeah, just not yet though. Well, just stay tuned. Okay, we're gonna continue on. So let's see here. All right, so in 30 seconds from now, we're going to talk about why Conor McGregor will not fight at the White House, okay? And that is in less than 30 seconds. That is in less than 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I got news for you guys. Well, actual bad news. Conor McGregor will not be fighting at the White House. Now, is this official right now? Obviously not. Okay, it is not official right now, but this is my official prediction for this matter at hand. Number one, Conor McGregor is asking for $100 million. This is absolutely unrealistic. Nobody in the UFC has ever earned $100 million for a single fight. Okay? Now, with Turkey El-Sheikh involved, with Saudis having UFC cards involved, and depending on the magnitude and the size of the fight, maybe that will change. Here's the reality right now. The only time a UFC fighter has ever experienced getting $100 million was when a UFC fighter by the name of Conor McGregor had to go into boxing to box Floyd Money Mayweather. And that's the reality of UFC and MMA as a sport when it comes to the pay structure, which, by the way, is a completely topic and a different type of conversation for another time, maybe even for a completely different video. For this one, we will talk about some of the other outrageous demands that Conor McGregor has made. The other outrageous demand that he made is that he wanted 100 gold visas for his family, right? This is something that Trump offers to citizens that are, or at least would-be citizens, or people that are immigrants who have special skills that are coming into the United States. He wants this for his family. Now, is this something that is feasible for the U.S. government? And by the way, here's what's crazy. He says that he's not negotiating with the UFC for this fight. He's negotiating with the U.S. government. Now, for anybody that understands the Doge program, that understands expenditures from the government, that understands Treasury, I think you can decipher the reality of that. But here's another reality that I want to decipher. I just think that Conor McGregor is at this stage right now where he wants you to believe that there is something going on in the next coming months, right? You ever had that buddy that said, well, in a couple of months, I'm going to go on a holiday, I'm going to go on a vacation, and then the summer comes, they never do. That same buddy that says, well, I'm going to have my summer body, I'm going to get in the gym on January 1st and stick to my resolution, and then they never do. Well, Conor McGregor is the super athlete version of that, because he's not lazy. He's not somebody that has had a reputation of not holding on to his word when he says he was going to do something. On the contrary, he's actually really held his end of the bargain with a lot of things that he says. And that is the reason why we call him Mystic Mac from 2014 to 2016. And then I don't know what happened in 2017 and 18. It just went downhill from there. He had one win against Donald Cerrone, and then it was just nothing but downhill from there. That was the reality of Conor McGregor's career. Now, the other positive outlook of that is you could say that Conor McGregor has beaten every single person that he has taken on, with the exception of Khabib. That's not a bad stat to have in any kind of way, is it? But this is the reality of the situation, man. I just think that he's happy being the boss of BKFC. I think he's happy with the career that he's had, with the stats that I had just mentioned, right? You could look at it one way, right? He was popping from 2014 to 16. Then 2017, he lost to Mayweather and then Khabib. And then his only win was Donald Cerrone, and it was downhill from there. You could look at it like that, or you could look at it as he beat every guy that he was in there with the exception of Khabib, who, by the way, is the greatest of all time right now, undeniably. So that is the reality of Conor McGregor. I don't think there's going to be a Conor McGregor fight at the White House. I don't think there's any of that that's going on. I highly doubt it. I don't think that's what is going to happen. It's just not the level that he's at right now. It's not. It's not. And if you think otherwise, I don't know what to tell you. But, okay, from MMA Fighting, which, by the way, came out on October 1st, which was just 3 days ago. Okay, while this 6-month operation for a UFC White House card, there's a lot at stake, he says. Okay, so this is from David Martin. Okay, putting all of his focus on his return before making other plans. He's been making nothing but plans ahead of BKFC 82 Saturday, where he's serving as a promoter and co-owner. Okay. I have 8 months and change out to the White House. It's a 6-month operation. Okay, so that is what he has going on. Will he hold up his end of the bargain to that? I'll tell you what, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I highly doubt that he's going to do it, but if you think otherwise, let me know on the comment section below. And with that, this is all that I have for this one right now. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one, inshallah. And everyone in the chat, stay.
MMA needs if you want to find predictions, news, and MMA needs if you want to find MMA needs if you want to find predictions, news, and everything that deals with MMA. Shout outs to MMA needs. MMA needs if you want to find predictions, news, and everything that deals with MMA. Shout outs to Kyrie, El-Kheer MMA, Sacramento, California, represent.
That's right, Kyrie. I appreciate you, my nigga. You came in here, you was talking that shit. That's right, bro. Much love, Flo. I appreciate you for always stepping in, bro. Be safe out there. Man, my nigga Kyrie, my man Kyrie came through. He started talking that shit. Hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing. That nigga will whoop your fucking ass. You would think that nigga's all squared up and all that type of shit. Nigga come through and beat your fucking ass. Like, man, fuck you up. You will never see it coming. So for those of y'all,
guy of the PFL right now. Well, this is sort of a preview show more than anything. I don't think we're gonna stay for the entire card, but on any regard, yeah, man, just wanted to come in here, holler at you guys. What's my prediction for this one? I'm gonna go with Nurmagomedov. I think he finishes him this time. Now, the other fight that is really big on this one, how about Artem Lobov taking on Zubaira? Long time coming, right? Obviously, a beef that stems from the Conor McGregor Khabib fight, but nonetheless, here we are, full circle once again, right? All right, so listen, back to the live stream video that I did the other day. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll maybe do post-fight. I'm going to end the video with this. Enjoy, guys. Documentary that I'm talking about right here.
Turkey Al-Sheikh. 3 years ago, nobody had heard of this guy. Now he's going to fog the entire support team. Who is this guy? The Saudi government. Close ties to royalty. He's been brilliant for the sport. He has become the face of boxing.
Most influential personality in the last decade. Most influential figure in boxing and MMA. WBC even named him Man of the Year. The same award they gave to Mandela, Reagan,
So, basically just your average success story. He's just making boxing another sport right now. He's centralizing power between MMA, boxing, and wrestling. No one's ever done that before. Not at this speed. I mean, someone tell me how you get Dana to hold your hand with this. Look at that. That's for power. Where does he get his money? And what's his end game? And why is nobody asking these questions?
Yeah, I think there's a good reason why not many people are asking these questions. I think the reason why a lot of people are not asking these questions, maybe there's inherent danger that comes with it, but yeah, let's continue on with this and learn further.
but not without consequences.
I don't know. Turkey's the part of the iceberg that's above the...
There you go. Now you notice how he mentions, hey, you know what? I'm just an employee. I'm not part of the royal family or anything like that. Just an employee.
Water. You understand? No. And I'm pretty sure it's pronounced tip of the iceberg, dum-dum.
Okay, ladies. I got the background info. Turns out we were wrong about Turkey. He didn't come from money. Born August 1981 in Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh. His parents were...
Okay, so this is what's interesting about this, right? They mentioned that, hey, you know what? Here's one thing that we found out about Turkey El-Sheikh, right? We found out that he did not come from money. Now, it is often a stereotype that people have of Turkey El-Sheikh. Well, you know what? He came from money. He's a person that, you know, is rich naturally because he's a Saudi. But little do people know, there's more to it than that. And this video further explains it right here.
Working middle class. In his own words, an average family. Except for one thing.
What?
Their last name.
El-Sheikh.
Second most powerful family branch in the country. Historically linked to religious healing, just like...
So, according to this, right, Turkey El-Sheikh is related to the Islamic scholar by the name of Muhammad al-Wahhab. Now, for those of you that don't know who Muhammad al-Wahhab is, he was an 18th century Islamic scholar who revived Islam in what you sort of see today, right, as going back to the Salaf, meaning going back to the days and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. And the controversial part of Wahhabism is that it is tied to ideologies with the likes of Daesh or ISI or ISIL or Al-Qaeda or even Hamas, although Hamas has a little bit more of a nationalistic, ethnocentric motivation behind it, with the mixture of Wahhabism religious practices as well, but mainly focused on ethnocentrism, nationalism, and obtaining the land for the Palestinians and only for the Palestinians and really no other Muslim group, whereas Wahhabism sort of emphasizes more of a global Islamic perspective or a global Islamic homogeny in how you communicate with the larger ummah, or as we call the worldwide Muslim community, ummah. That is the phrase or the name behind it. But yes, okay, let's go back to this video right here.
Like having Vatican as your last name. It carries weight, but not necessarily money.
What does a name get you?
In his case, access to the royal court. Around the early 2000s, he forms a friendship with a royal 4 years younger than him. A teenager called Mohammed, the king's nephew.
A prince.
Yes, but not expected to ever take the throne. Turkey and Mohammed were tight. Played video games, binge-watched wrestling. Turkey would even smuggle a prince out to explore.
See, this is the part that makes Turkey El-Sheikh and Mohammed bin Salman, the current prince of Saudi Arabia, very relatable. Notice how they mentioned, hey, you know what? They played video games. They binge-watched wrestling. MMA, boxing, which, by the way, is the trajectory that they are at today, surprisingly enough, right?
You guys want to see the rest of that live stream that I did, that was obviously live streamed October 1st, okay, where the announcements of UFC Qatar and the possible matchup of Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria. Check out that video on my October 1st stream. So right now we just got a knockout from Rahmani in the PFL, right, heavyweight division. So I guess now they have new competition for Francis Ngannou. That is a name that you have to remember right there in the heavyweight division. Gets a first-round knockout right now against, I believe his last name is Tbilisi or something like that. But on in regards, yeah, getting knocked out like that. So, yes, this is the pre-show for UFC. I'm sorry, yes, UFC 320 fight week. Also the fights that were announced, but also covering Nurmagomedov versus Hughes as the pre-show. So Booyah, Rahmani just got a win on that one right there. So yes, this has been the coverage for Nurmagomedov versus Hughes. But in the meantime, I will keep the video going. I will play some of my old live streams. And yeah, just keep this one going for now. So hold on just a second. Let me see what I should play for you guys right now while I real long one. So. All right, so we're going to go with White eliminated the sanctioning bodies in order to uplift the Ring Magazine and also TKO Boxing. Let's go with this one, all right? I will be right back. Well, actually, no, this is actually where I sign off. I'm going to leave you guys with this. So enjoy this content right here.
to Paramount Plus. This had first been reported by Ryan Glassbeagle of Front Office Sports right after the UFC Paramount deal was announced. And today we got the official announcement. 12 shows in 2026. In terms of like the money was not announced. They didn't officially announce the years, but Front Office Sports did announce that it's a 5-year deal, so not bad. Not as long as the UFC deal, but close. 7-5. This is for the US, Canada, and Latin America. No word on the UK. Got some questions about the UK. 12 shows, but they still have the ability for the mega shows to be on other platforms. So, like, this doesn't preclude them. If they get a mega show and they continue to talk about the 12 shows, contender series, building people up, 50-50 fights, but this wouldn't be like a Terrence Crawford type of event. Those can still go on Netflix. So it's a nice little deal for them. I actually think it's really good for American boxing. I don't think it's good that every promotion is on one platform.
So, all right, he says that it's good for American boxing. He's absolutely right, because what the UK has going on with boxing, what Mexico has going on with boxing, I think is a lot more extensive than what American boxing has sort of presented itself recently. And yeah, I think Rahmani is absolutely right about that one.
The zone. I don't think that's good. You like the zone, it's great, but like you can't have 8 different promotions on there. It gets a little bit lost in the shuffle. So here's Paramount getting into boxing as well as MMA, of course. And let's see what the shows are. Dana White did an interview with Brian Campbell of CBS Sports.
It's a California Showdown, 49ers, Rams, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Prime.
Women riders can now request women drivers with women preferences. Coming soon. Uber.
Didn't give up too much information regarding how many fighters. He's talked about, 450. I don't know how you can have that many with just 12 shows. I doubt that will be the...
What Rahmani is referring to is the fact that they had 450 fighters that were potential prospects, right? Dana White didn't say that he was going to sign all 400 of them. He said that he was going to take a look at them and see what he can do in terms of what type of shows they can put them on, how they can promote them, or who they're willing to promote out of those pool size sample of 400 people.
Wherever you are, get what fits. Even when you're on the move. Get what you need on your time, every time. On parts.cat.com.
What's the secret to peak health?
Going micro with Noom. Micro habits, micro wins, even microdose GLP-1s.
Micro? I can do micro.
Get started at Noom.com.
The final number. Talked about, the weight classes. Did say he's gonna have female fighters on his cards, but the details are very, very, very limited right now. Said it will start in January. Obviously, UFC deal starts in January as well. In that interview, though, there were 2 really interesting sections, I thought. The first one being, he was asked about the Ali Act, and he said, we're not changing a word of the Ali Act, we're just making it better. All right. And then he did say that...
But he also did say that the Ali Act had its good intentions, but it really held the sport back. Now, what does he mean by the sport being held back? Well, a lot of the fights that you wanted to see, such as Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, and things of that nature, you had to wait like maybe an entire decade to see them fight, right? And then, sort of fighting outside of their prime right afterwards. So, all right, let's hear more what he's talking about here.
You could either choose, if you're a fighter, you could choose to fight under the Ali Act, or you could choose to fight with us under our version.
Okay, now that part doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, right? You're either fighting under the Ali Act or you're fighting under their version. What Dana White could mean by that is you're either going to fight with our contract or you're either going to fight with the contract that was already available in terms of the Ali Act, right? I mean, it's all very confusing, but at the same time, what do you expect from Dana White, who speaks in a very vague type of language, in order for you to not really understand their true intentions or their true ulterior motives in whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish?
And I'm not quite sure, I'm not a politician, anyone who deals with legislation and things like that, but like, I'm not quite sure it works like that. I don't think you can pick and choose.
That's a good point. So when Dana White said you can choose to be in the Ali Act or you can choose to be with us, I think what Dana White is trying to say in his own promoter's language is, hey, if you come with us, you can make more money, but if you come with them, maybe you have a limited ceiling. I think ultimately that is what he is trying to say. By the way, shout out to Gino Liedman. He says, where is the king of the game at? Here I am, my man. So shout out to you. Shout out to everybody around the world. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to get to this topic of Dana White trying to eliminate the 4 belts in boxing, trying to make wave for the era of Zuffa and Ring Magazine. Now, he only wants to recognize the Ring Magazine. And I tell you what, from a boxing lineage perspective, I think this works, right? Because if you remember, the Ring Magazine was the original belt of world champions back in the days, right? If you remember the Apollo Creed and the Rocky saga going on, right? The Ring Magazine was a prominent aspect of that. Top of the morning. Yee, shout out to Savachi Financial on this one. My man said to me in a private message, Dana White is going to buy Nebraska, right? I fell asleep on my laptop and didn't see that until the morning. But yeah, Dana White definitely, I'm sorry, not Dana White, Turkey El-Sheikh, maybe even Dana White himself as well is going to buy.
MMA needs, if you want to find predictions, news, and everything that deals with MMA, shout outs to Kyrie, El-Kheer MMA, Sacramento, California represent.
That's right, Kyrie. I appreciate you, my nigga. You came in here, you was talking that shit. That's right, bro. Much love, Flo. I appreciate you for always stepping in, bro. Be safe out there. Man, my nigga Kyrie, my man Kyrie came through. He started talking that shit. Hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing. That nigga will whoop your fucking ass. You would think that nigga's all squared up and all that type of shit. Nigga come through and beat your fucking ass. Like, man, fuck you up. You will never see it coming. So for those of y'all